Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm Denise French, owner of Divorce Strategies Group, and we're here to help you with all your financial needs before, during, and after divorce. Today, I want to talk about QDROs. QDROs are Qualified Domestic Relations Orders, or QDRO. They are a document that you need if you were awarded part of your soon-to-be ex-spouse's ERISA regulated retirement plan. ERISA is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. That's the act that regulates all of your 401ks here in America and the pension plans. So if you were awarded a 401k or a pension plan or a profit sharing plan is also under that, you're going to need a QDRO. IRAs typically don't fall underneath this. That's just paperwork. Roth IRAs don't fall underneath the ERISA plans. Your military plans and your civil service plans have different orders that they mandate. So today I'm just talking about QDROs, and I'm talking about QDROs that are awarded pursuant to a divorce in a group retirement plan with the 401k or profit sharing or pension. So you were awarded part of a plan. Now what do? How do you get that money in your own IRA or in your bank account? What are the steps? So the first step is right after mediation, contact your attorney and ask them to create a QDRO for you. They may hire that, and they may hire a QDRO company to do those. A lot of attorneys do. I think it's a great idea. There's some incredible QDRO firms around, and I like using a company that specifically drafts QDROs because that's all they do. And as the companies change their rules and their wording, those QDRO firms know that because that's all they do, and they'll keep up with it so there's no delay in you getting your money. So ideally, you'd have a QDRO firm draft the QDRO with your specific award in it, whether it be 40%, 50%, 60%. If there were loans in your 401k, in your case, that would have been dealt with ideally in mediation, and that will probably be a part of the QDRO. So the QDRO is drafted by someone, the attorney or the QDRO firm, and then ideally it gets sent to the company for pre-approval. That takes a good 30 to 45 days. But I like doing that because then you have a solid QDRO that you know is going to be accepted by the company, so you don't have to deal with going back after the fact to get signatures and a judge's signature, etc. So you've drafted the QDRO, you send it off to the company for pre-approval while you're waiting for the attorneys to complete the process of your divorce decree drafting, right? There's a period of time in between when you finalize the details of your divorce and when you actually have a divorce decree that's drafted and you go to court to finalize it. And the attorneys have to draft a 40 to 60 page divorce decree based off a 4 or 5 page mediated settlement agreement. It takes time to do that. It takes time to agree on the wording. It's got to go back and forth between two attorneys. So while that's going on, your QDRO can be drafted and sent for pre-approval. So let's say that happens. Now it's pre-approved. The attorneys get it back. Great. You have this QDRO that's been pre-approved by this company. You sign it, your attorney signs it, it's then sent to the other side, your soon-to-be ex-spouse signs it, and their attorney signs it. So you have 4 signatures on this. And then in a perfect world, this QDRO is then entered into the court with your final divorce decree. That is ideal. So when you go to the court or your paperwork's entered or however it is the court orders your divorce to be finalized, this QDRO can go in with your divorce decree because the judge also has to sign it. So let's say that happens, it's a perfect world. Now the judge has signed it, so now you have a QDRO that's in good order, that's signed by the four parties to the divorce and a judge. Great. Now the legal process with your QDRO is done, but you still have more to do on this. Someone still needs to pick that paperwork up from the courthouse and send it to the company. That's often a step people forget about. This will not go any further unless the company gets the court order, and the court is not obligated to do that. So that's your responsibility as the person who's the alternate payee or the person who's receiving the funds. We often, if we're working with people after divorce, will take this step. A lot of times the QDRO firms will do it, and a lot of times the attorneys will do it, but someone has to take the QDRO from the courthouse to the company. Sometimes that can be done electronically. Some companies will accept an electronic version of that. A lot of companies want the actual original QDRO with the raised seal from the court, right? So you need to know what your company accepts. And again, great reason to use QDRO firms because they know what companies accept what, or a simple phone call will do. But so either way, the now signed QDRO by you, all parties involved in the litigation, and the judge is now sent to the QDRO firm. So now you've left the court system, you're in the company system. but it's still a little bit of a wait from there. It takes about 30 days for these companies to run you through their system, typically, to say, okay, we see you have a QDRO, we're reviewing it. So you'll get a letter from the QDRO firm stating, we know you're here, we're looking at your QDRO, we've received it. Now keep in mind I said you'll get a letter, meaning you'll get a letter in the mail. These QDRO firms do not send anything on email, they don't send anything by fax, and they certainly don't text anything. They don't call you either. So they will send all of their communication to you through US mail. So you want to make sure the address you have on this QDRO is an address where you can receive mail. So 30 days after you send it off, you'll get a letter typically back saying, we've got it, we're looking at it. And it takes another 30 to 45 days to get another letter stating, you're in good order. Great, here's how you receive their money. Different companies have different rules. Some companies will send you 2 letters, one with a PIN, the other one with your letter, depending on security. But either way, you're going to get a letter, basically 60 to 65, 70 days after your divorce is final, stating you're in good order. How do you want your money? And that's when you need to make a decision. And ideally, we've worked with you while we're waiting on the 60 to 70 day period to figure out what you need and how you need it. So you have a few options with this QDRO money. One, it's a way for you to establish emergency fund and to pay off attorney's fees, to pay off credit cards, to set yourself right after your divorce to start your new life fresh and clean. We don't recommend you use retirement accounts for credit card bills and to pay debts off, but in this case, after a divorce, I do really think it's a nice idea to start fresh and clean with no debt, no attorney's fees, you're just a clean slate. In that case, if you need money from the 401k, you can do so without a 10% penalty. So there's several exemptions from taking money out of retirement accounts without a penalty. One is being 59 and a half, another one is divorce. But it cannot go from the 401k to the IRA to take it out. It doesn't count like that. It can only go from the QDRO company, the 401k, to you in the form of a check in order to avoid that 10% penalty. But it certainly can be done via a QDRO in a divorce situation. So you can take this money out, no 10% penalty, but you will be taxed on it. And you'll be taxed at your ordinary income rate. So think of this money as if you had a job. So how much will you be taxed on? I don't know. It depends on how much money you earned that year, whether you earned it through income from employment or you earned it through this QDRO money, which also counts as income. So if you decide to take out $100,000 from $500,000 you were awarded in a QDRO, that's fine. They're going to ship 20% of that off to the IRS automatically off the top. It's federal law. It cannot be avoided. So if it's, for example, you have $100,000, you want $80,000 in your pocket, that's fine because you'll get 80 in your pocket and 20 will go to the IRS. So 20% of any cash withdrawals you want to take out of these goes to the IRS, the rest goes to you. We can work with you on how much of that you actually owe in taxation and figure that out with you. So we're happy to run those numbers for you. You can run those numbers, have a CPA run those numbers, but you need to know what you're going to owe in taxation from this because it is taxed at ordinary income rates. So that's option one, is to take a portion of this or all of this in cash. And again, it'll come in a check in the mail to your house. You want to make sure the address you have on file with the QDRO firm is correct. The second option, if you don't need the money, and what we recommend, is taking money and moving it into your own IRA. This is taking it from one retirement chassis to another retirement chassis. So we like to establish a base of an emergency fund, a base of paying off whatever divorce debts you have, and the rest of it, hopefully you can move to your own individual retirement account if you're in a position to do so. And then you're saving for your future. You have full control over those monies, how they're invested, when they're taken out, etc. So that would be, again, moving from the 401k from the QDRO directly to your own individual retirement account where you have control. Sometimes you can also keep the funds at the 401k carrier or move them into a different 401k. But again, we recommend putting it into your own IRA so you have full control over those funds and what you do with them in the future. So I hope that helps. That's how the QDRO process works. If you have questions on your individual situation, we're happy to help. Go to Divorce Strategies Group and schedule a complimentary 30-minute consultation with us. Thanks. Take care.